everyone. Today's topic, as you can probably tell, is autistic people in media. As some of you may have guessed, this topic was chosen because of the whole fiasco with the trailer for Sia's new movie, Music. Oh, is it? Remind me to show you how to pronounce my name. Okay, Storo Zevoy?
Strojevoy.
Or is it Storo Jevoy?
I'm saying the ending wrong.
Anyway. But yeah, the trailer of the new movie, Music. Honestly, this whole drama didn't blow up, honestly, because of the movie trailer. Even though close enough. Okay. It wasn't exactly like that. Kind of started it, but honestly, it was Sia's reaction to the criticism that caused it. For a rundown of what seems to be the plot of the movie, since of course no one's seen it, is a woman named Zoo. I think it's ZU. I haven't watched the trailer in a few days, so I think it's Zoo. Unexpectedly becomes the sole guardian of her autistic half-sister, Music. Cue drama, and I'm guessing a tear-filled happy ending. This is my guess. Autistic people saw this trailer and criticized the depiction of Music, the autistic half-sister. Instead of, apologizing or, calmly explaining things or letting it roll off her shoulder, Sia absolutely blew up. She lashed out like nobody's business. I understand that this movie took a lot of work, took a lot of money. Hi, Cora. He's sniffing my face. But, creating something only to have it be met with harsh criticism and anger can't be easy. I understand that. However, no, get off. He went on my keyboard. But here's the thing. So much of this could have been avoided. Sia could have had, not just an autistic actor to play Music, but also an autistic writer to help her, or an autistic screenwriter, or autistic editor, or autistic anything. She says she consulted two neuroatypical friends, but neuroatypical doesn't necessarily mean autistic. Now, these friends may actually be autistic. They might actually be. But, we can't be sure because she used such broad language. But also, if they are autistic, how much consultation did they give? What did they do to help? Again, we can't be sure because so much, it is just vague. So little information was given. I know that there are people who are upset by Music not being played by an autistic actor. I am too. The actor playing Music prepared for the role by getting guidance from Sia. Hi, Kendra. And watching YouTube videos of autistic kids having meltdowns. And I really hate those videos. You take a video of a child's most vulnerable moment, and then you post it for the world to see without the child's consent because children can't consent. I hate these videos so much. Sorry. It's just, those videos really tick me off. Anyways, the actor originally didn't want to play music because she worried about offending the autistic community. And there was an interview about Sia talking about this. And saying, that the actress was uncomfortable, worried about offending people. And also, this actress, she's just a teenager. Like, I think she's 18. So I really don't want to put much, I don't want to put blame on her. You know? It's just, like, Sia said that she originally hired a nonverbal autistic actor for the role. Whether it's true or not, I don't know. But she claimed that that there were problems that made it not work. And if this all is true, it just shows how inaccessible she made the process, of acting in her movie. Because if you have somebody on set, like if you make a movie about somebody in a wheelchair, and then you make the set wheelchair inaccessible, that's on you. You can't just say, oh, I couldn't hire somebody who's actually a wheelchair user because it was a problem. It's like, it is your job to make it accessible for the people working. And, like, also my question is, why didn't she try a different autistic actor? If this one person was actually like a problem for one reason or another, why not a different autistic actor? If it's such an issue to have a non-verbal person there are verbal autistic actors. I would prefer that if you have a movie about a non-verbal autistic person, you get a non-verbal autistic person to play them because they know how to act like one, they are one. And also, I can't imagine that it's very easy for, non-verbal people, whether autistic or not, to get acting jobs. It can't be easy. So this would have been a perfect opportunity to give one a job. But, I don't know, did she assume all autistic actors are the same? Did she assume that every single one of them would have been the problem? I have no idea. For me, the biggest issue is the lack of autistic people in the creative process. Sia did the writing, and she and one other person did the screenwrite. And the other person, I can't remember his name, who did the screenwriting, I believe he did some work with Autism Speaks or something like that. I can't remember. I'd have to look it up. I did look it up and then I forgot. Oh my gosh. I'm prepared. I'm a professional. But, like, this is what has me the most irritated. No autistic acting coach, no autistic directors, just some autistic people in the staff, like in the cast, sorry. It's 8:11 in the morning. Like, she bragged about having some autistic people in the cast. She also bragged about having trans people in the cast who, it's like she felt she deserved brownie points for not casting them as like sex workers. And I don't understand why she felt that, because she went out of her way to say, that she, oh, I have autistic people in the cast and trans people in the cast, and they're not cast as sex workers. I'm just, I don't know, confusing. But, oh, brownie points. Basically, like, oh, how would you explain it? Sort of like approval from other people. Brownie points is basically like I did a good thing. Give me praise. That you get brownie points. That's what it means. Um, but this movie was Sia's way of speaking for the autistic community, above the autistic community. Instead of letting autistic people help her tell the story, she went, well, she says she went to Autism Speaks for help. But even Autism Speaks has like distanced themselves from this and have said they had no involvement. So I don't know if that's true or if like they're trying to back away. It's like, this is not our drama. But when you have like Autism Speaks speaking against you, you done goofed. you know. And this isn't the first time an autistic person has made something about or with an autistic character. It happens all the time. Now, for those who don't know, allistic means a person who is not autistic, since you can be neurodivergent without being autistic. And, well, I don't think Sia is autistic. She hasn't come out and said it. I don't know whether she's neurotypical or not. So I'm just going to use the term allistic. I can only talk about certain examples because, like, the two shows that I've seen talked about a lot when it comes to autistic characters of shows that have come out recently are like The Good Doctor and Atypical. And I have seen neither of these. I have seen Ween Dalvin. It's interesting that you bring up Rain Man because I will be talking about that later. Uh, um, yeah, I haven't seen Good Doctor. I haven't seen Atypical. I've seen a lot of people talk about them. I've seen some people say, yeah, this is great, representation of autistic people. And I've seen, oh, this is an awful, depiction. Um, yeah, I haven't seen The Accountant with Ben Affleck. I have heard of it, but I've never seen it. Um, but yeah, so I'm just gonna be bringing up a couple of examples. The first one is the one that was just mentioned recently. Um, it it was the movie that was a lot of people's first introduction to an autistic character in media, including me, and that's Rain Man. But the thing is that it wasn't just the first introduction to autistic characters in media for Wendaben. Thank you, Wendaben. Thank you for correcting me. Um, it was a lot of people's first introduction to just seeing autism. But yeah, for those who don't know, who haven't seen Rain Man, this movie, it came out in 1988, I believe. Yes, 1988. It's a movie about a man named Charlie, played by Tom Cruise, No, not like the game Rayman. That's completely different. Um, so yeah, it's a movie about a guy named Charlie, played by Tom Cruise, who finds out after his father dies that he has an autistic older brother, Raymond, who's been in an institution. Charlie at first doesn't like Raymond, but learns to love him after drama filled shenanigans. Cue tear filled happy ending. Um, but yeah, is um, as I said, for some people, this was their first view of autism, which is both like a good thing and a bad thing. It was good because they introduced people to the existence of autism. It started, a conversation. As I said before, like this movie was made in 1988. Autism wasn't widely known. It's not like today. You know, is the only people who really knew about autism were people who had to deal with it, like doctors, parents, autistic people. Outside of that, it wasn't really known. The problem with this, though, is that suddenly Raymond, the autistic character in Rain Man, became the autism stereotype, the autistic savant. Even to this day, there are people who believe that, oh, since you don't act like Rain Man, you can't be autistic. You know, however, before Rain Man, the only people who knew anything, you know, as I said, only people who knew anything about autism were parents, autistic people, and specialized doctors. Yes, their knowledge, even the doctor's knowledge, was very limited compared to today. But everything needs to start somewhere. This was a jumping off point. This was the beginning. And so it did good, but it did bad. However, I feel like with all the bad that it did, I'd say it did more good. Like it was more of a benefit than a harm. Just because it did start the conversation. You know, for as much harm as it did to the autistic community. Because suddenly autism was in the public eye. Like this movie won awards. You know, you couldn't escape it. Now, however, a lot more is known about autism. It is much more in the public eye. And thanks to our expanding knowledge of autism, it's diagnosed more and more each day. People like to complain that autism is being overdiagnosed or that more and more people um, uh, are becoming autistic. But no, it's just that the more we know about it, the easier it is to diagnose. Honestly, I feel it's underdiagnosed. But now, because of our expanded knowledge of autism, that makes media about autism a lot more difficult for autistic people to make, because now they actually have an autistic community that can critique their work. They can't get away with just making inspiration porn without backlash from us. We have a voice now. Nothing about us without us. Not only that, but there are autistic actors now. You know, yes, Shimmer, some autistic people have savant skills. That is very true. However, it's just the issue is that people believe that every autistic is a savant. Like, that's the issue when it comes to, like, Rain Man being the stereotype oh, every autistic is a savant, which no. But yeah, is with there's autistic actors out there now. You want an autistic character in your movie or show, you can get an autistic actor or autistic writer. Oh, savant. Justin, a savant is basically someone who is intellectually disabled. However, there's one thing that they are just a genius at. You have people who, they can't take care of they can't take care of themselves well, but they can do mathematical equations, better than geniuses. That's what a savant is basically. What's the name for an autistic actor? Yeah, their name, or just an autistic actor. Oh, a name. What's name for an autistic actor? Oh, geez. Let me look up. Um, sorry. Well, Anthony Hopkins is one. Um, he's one of my absolute favorites. Um, oh shoot. There's Dan Aykroyd, and there's one other woman, Daryl Hannah. She, for any who have seen the Kill Bill movie, she played the one-eyed woman. But yeah, those are three autistic actors. There's probably more, but those are the three that I can think of. They are officially diagnosed. I don't know if Keanu Reeves is autistic. I haven't heard about him being diagnosed. Um, but yeah, is with the autistic community existing today, like, we know the harm that can be done when autistic people are written by people who don't know enough about us. Whenever a character who's autistic or perceived as autistic becomes popular in public eye, a new stereotype is born. And often the stereotype, um oh yes, there's a Kendra, thanks for bringing that up. um Kayla Cromer from the show Everything's Gonna Be Okay. This is an instance of an autistic character being played by an autistic actor. So yeah. um so basically, like, whenever, like I said, whenever an autistic character becomes popular, they become like the groundwork. It's sort of like, oh, to be autistic, you must act like this character. The one that I think of nowadays is Sheldon Cooper. Now, Sheldon is the common autistic stereotype. While the writers of the show claim that Sheldon isn't autistic, it doesn't stop the public from seeing him as such. It's one of those, if it quacks like a duck, you could say it's not a duck, but it's still a duck. Um, Now people are like, since you don't act like Sheldon Cooper, you can't be autistic. You know? And because of, with Rainman being a savant, with Sheldon Cooper, all this stuff, all autistic people are viewed as like geniuses. And with Sheldon Cooper, it's like, oh, all autistic people have to sit in the same spot and knock 3 times and speak in big words. Honestly, it's because of the stereotype of all autistics being geniuses that made me think that I was just really dumb. Like, I'm not a savant. So, it's just like, I have some things I'm good at. I can bake, I can draw, sort of. But these are things like I work towards. I didn't like I wasn't born amazing at them. So like I grew up thinking there was something wrong with me. That I was just really dumb. And that's the harm of these kind of stereotypes is they hurt people. If you're going to say all people like this are this stereotype and then you don't fit in. This is another thing with imposter syndrome. These stereotypes, they feed imposter syndrome. Um you have people who are autistic who, because they don't fit into the media's stereotypes, um they question whether they're autistic. Um, but oh, Justin, it's okay that you're good at math. Like, it's okay to be like some of the stereotypes. Some stereotypes exist for a reason. There are autistic people who are really good at math. It's just that with the stereotypes is it makes people believe that all people are like that. Um, so yeah. Um, but yeah. So we've gotten to a point now where you can't just write a character who acts autistic and then claim ignorance. The thing that always drove me to fury was they're not autistic, they're just quirky. And people may bring up if you made Sheldon openly autistic, then people would feel uncomfortable with laughing at them. And honestly, you want to know the solution? They should have an autistic writer on board that made Sheldon be actually funny beyond her, he acts weird. There's a difference between laughing at funny autistic people and laughing at an autistic person. Like, there are autistic comedians out there who are downright hilarious. Like, have you seen Hannah Gatsby on Netflix? Oh my gosh, I laughed my ass off. And of course, I have to bring up Michael McCreary. He's a stand-up comedian who wrote a book called "Funny You Don't Look Autistic." Not only is he from Ontario, like me, but also I'm friends with his brother. So shout out to Michael. But because so much more is known, because um um there's so much more known about autism. There's the autistic community. You can't just be like, you can't just write a character you think, oh, this person kind of acts autistic. This is good enough. And it's just, as somebody brought up earlier, it's sort of like with Native Americans nowadays. If you have a movie with a Native American character and they're not played by a Native American actor, people are going to get up in arms. Hi, Emily. Um, and honestly, that's what we should keep doing. If an autistic character is played by someone who isn't autistic, we should do something about it. We should do what we did with Sia. Let people know we're not okay with this. We don't like being misrepresented. One thing that I saw one example is you wouldn't get a white person to play a black character. Um, so now there is one autistic character that I absolutely have to talk about, and this is in a positive light. And that's Entrapta from the new She-Ra cartoon on Netflix. Oh my gosh. This show, and Entrapta specifically, got me through the worst of the quarantine here in China. She became, my special interest. Like, I had to see all of the fan art. I had to read all of the fan fiction. It was just, I just zoned in, and although the show was written by Aulistics, the writers consulted an autistic member of staff, one of the character designers, um, when writing her and her story. Like, I fell in love with her before I even knew she was autistic. I'm just like, this is my favorite character now. And oh my gosh, I absolutely squeed when I found out, like, she was canonically autistic. She's a three-dimensional character who has she has a personality beyond like her autistic traits. Shimmer, yes, it is a good show. I recommend She-Ra. Not only does it have an autistic character, but has a lot of characters in the LGBTQ plus community. You get, you have trans characters, non-binary characters, gay characters, bi characters, just absolutely everything. Um, and it has a really good story. The ending made me cry. Um, but with Entrapta, she's not just some stereotype who has no character outside of I'm autistic. However, even though she and her story were basically written by an autistic person, the world around her was not just in three dimensions. I was expecting two. Yes. She is drawn in two dimensions, but she's written in three dimensions. Uh, but yeah, the world around her was not written by an autistic person. It was all autistic people. So there are times where the other princesses, the heroes of the story, are ableist towards her. She's put on a leash a couple times. Her hair is pulled. She's sometimes talked to like a child. She's yelled at for not getting social cues. And in the end, is the one who's forced to apologize for not getting those social cues. I wouldn't have an issue with characters being ableist towards her if the goal was to show how treating her like that was wrong. But it's never addressed. Her being leashed honestly feels like it was supposed to be written as a joke. And it made me feel really uncomfortable. And this is the thing. There's one episode that honestly, like, made me feel really uncomfortable. It's in the final season, but is just sort of like, in the end, only one character ever apologizes to her, and it's not for being ableist towards her. It's for something else, and I'm not going to spoil it. But it shows that even though Entrapta was written by an autistic person, the show still suffered for not having an autistic writer actually in the writer's room. If you had an autistic person in the writer's room, they could have pointed at these situations, goes, this is a problem. The way this was written is a problem, because autistic people don't always see ableism. They don't always see their behavior as ableist. So you get certain things written And to an autistic person, they may laugh, they may go, "Aw," think it's sweet. Whereas an autistic person is looking at it going, "Oh my gosh, that is awful." You know? I feel like as important as it is to have an autistic character portrayed by an autistic actor, it's more important to have an autistic people there during the creative process. Writers, screenwriters, directors, all this stuff, you know, because our autism isn't the only thing that affects us. It's how the world reacts to us and how we react to it. Without an autistic writer, you lose so much when you have an autistic character. You, yeah, Justin, yeah, or you could just gaslight the autistic person to believe that they're making up your ableism. Yes, sadly, that is something that happens. Oh, you're being ableist towards me. Well, no, I'm not, because blah 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 blah, and just sort of, yeah, that does happen a lot. But you can't write. You can't properly write about the autistic experience without actually experiencing it. I can't write the experience of a person of color or a man or a Muslim. I have not lived their lives. I don't know how the world reacts to them or how they react to the world. There's more to being an autistic person than our autism. You can't know how people look at us or talk to us or treat us unless you are us. Nor how we look at or talk to or treat others. I remember when I was working security in an anime convention when I was 19 or 20, I had no money, so the only way I could get there for and afford it was if I worked. So it was you got in for free, you got hotels for free, you just had to pay for your food and to get there. So yeah, there were a couple of years where I would do security at anime conventions just so I could go. And I was sitting in a chair watching an autograph line, and another member of security, who was only a year or two older than me, leaned down and, with the voice that you'd use when talking to a toddler, asked me if I wanted a juice box. And here's the thing, she wasn't trying to make fun of me. She was just asking if I wanted something to drink. But because she knew I was autistic, she just assumed that I had the mind of a child and treated me as such. This is the sort of experience you don't know about if you don't live it. Without an autistic writer, media with an autistic character will always be written from the outside. There will always be that level of separation. And you get these issues with, the good guys in She-Ra treating Entrapta like they do. She's a morally gray character, so there are certain things characters get upset with her about that is legitimate. But it's just you get so much removed when you have autistic characters. You don't have people help write them or the story in general. And it's just, sorry, I'm just trying to get words in my head. I think in pictures, so making words come out of my mouth coherently doesn't always work. Uh, um, it's just like, if you want to write autistic characters, if you want an autistic character in your show, I heavily suggest that you get an autistic person to at least help you write your story, or at least read it. Have an editor. Um, because, like, thinking about the movie music is seeing the trailer. The way it seems like they're going to be showing how music perceives the world just seems so bizarre. Like the movie is like she sees the world as a music video or something. And it's just like, no, that's not how it works. Like, yes, when I go out, I like headphones. I like, you know, having music playing. But not because it makes the world a music video, but because it shuts out a lot of the stuff that overstimulates me. You know, leaving my home stresses me out. And so having my music, it calms me down. And it's just like, had there been an autistic person in the there for the creative process, you know, who read the script or talked to see about the story or what have you, they could have just sort of explained these things. You know, and I understand she probably had like a vision or something. Like, I need the movie to go this way. And all I can think is, then don't make the character autistic. You know. And I don't know. It's just, you know, could it be that way for this one particular character? I'm sure there may be some people who are like that. The problem is that, I don't know, this character, this story was written by somebody who's not autistic. You know, so if she wanted to write a story, write a character who saw, like, once the music started, they saw the world as, um, sorry, as a music video, maybe consult someone who knows what that's like, who sees the world like that. You know, and it's just, I don't know, it's just the way I see it is, yes, Kenneth, it is called a spectrum for a reason. And there are some people who may see it that way, and I may be completely wrong. But the problem is that you had an autistic character writing an autistic character who sees the world this way. So no matter how many people are actually like this character, it's still going to be an inaccurate representation, I feel. So that's honestly my feelings of it. Now, one thing I want to make clear is that with all of that said, if you still enjoy Sia's music, if you still connect with her music, please don't feel any guilt over it. We don't get to choose what art moves us. And if her music moves you, that's okay. It doesn't mean that you support her movie. It doesn't mean that you condone her actions. I just don't want people shamed for liking her music. I know a lot of people are boycotting her. And you're free to do that. I've never bought any of her albums or anything, so my way of boycotting her is basically living life like I was before. Uh, but when it comes, like with corporations, people boycotting corporations, you know, um, that's one thing, you know. Well, Fenos, you are free to hate her music as well. Everybody has different tastes. Like for me, I love power metal. I love Sabaton and Blind Guardian, stuff like that. That's my type of music. Um, but it's just sort of like with boycotting corporations, that's one thing I feel. But when it comes to art, we don't get to choose what we connect with. So shaming people for liking certain type of music, um, you know, or in this case, as Emily put it, in the same way it's okay for someone to still enjoy Harry Potter stuff as long as they try to do so in ways that don't give money to the creator, and, that's the thing. And also with us is we don't get to choose our hyperfixation. Oh, Blake, you like Sabaton as well? Yay! My favorite song of theirs is Night Witches. But, we don't get to choose what we hyperfixate on. And if it turns out that we hyperfixate on something that was created by someone problematic, just because we like it or are hyperfixating on it, it doesn't mean we're in the wrong. Again, you can enjoy art without supporting the artist. I know some people don't believe in like death of the author, and that's fair. But I guess I'm not condoning piracy, but in the age of piracy, you can still enjoy things without giving the creator money if you really don't want to. Again, I'm not condoning piracy. Wink. Anyways, so, with all that said and done, I want to let people know about something that I'm going to be doing. With, like with my old comics, they're still kind of like branded as well, Finos, I don't condone piracy, they say, living in China. Yes. Again, I don't condone piracy, but if you do it, I suggest you get a VPN. Again, not condoning piracy. But yeah, is all of my old comics, they're still labeled as they're still done like in the old art program I was using. I was using GIMP and then I moved to Fire Alpaca. And Fire Alpaca makes things look a lot smoother and crisper. So, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be doing this thing called Flashback Friday. Every Friday, I'm going to be reposting. I'm not going to be changing my comic too much. Don't worry. All that's going to be changing is I'm essentially going to be tracing over the old Justin. This stream is not sponsored by NordVPN because it does not work in China. We bought a subscription and it didn't work.
Nord is fail in China.
Oh, you're so upset. But Churrito, Fire Alpaca is a Japanese art program, and I really like it. It's free to use. But yeah, is basically all I'm doing is taking my old comics, putting them in a Fire Alpaca, basically tracing over them. The old art style is going to be staying. The words are going to be staying the same mostly. Like 99.9% is going to be, if I use the word Aspie, I may change it. Well, Fenos, Fire Alpaca, the opposite of Firefox. Wouldn't the opposite of Firefox be like water alpaca? No, Justin, the YouTubers didn't lie to you. It's just that Nord works everywhere but China. Essentially, so I'm going to be reposting them. I'm going to be remaking, tracing over them. The old art style is staying. 99.9% of the words are going to be exactly the same. It's just that it's going to be labeled Autie-biographical and it's going to look crisper. And I'm going to be posting them on Fridays. I would like to apologize to all my Instagram fans. Because I'm not going to be posting it on Instagram. Because essentially, to put it on Instagram, I have to reformat the comic. And it's just I'm happy to do that with the ones that I'm making now. It's just it's such a hassle. Well, Fenos, this live stream is not sponsored by ExpressVPN. ExpressVPN used to be the best VPN to use in China, and now it is not. I'm actually using Astral. Oh, why did a couple of Canadians move to China? It is not for the re-education camps. Yes, Emily is correct. My partner teaches English in China. The other social media platforms I am on. I am on Facebook. I am on Twitter. I am on Tumblr. I am on Pinterest, Patreon, DeviantArt. So yeah. I am technically on Webtoons, but I'm going to be stopping that just because, again, I have to completely reformat it. And I don't have a lot of followers there. So honestly, I'm feeling like I'm putting a lot of effort into it and just not getting a lot back. So I'm just going to be, you know, I am not on TikTok. Uh, I have never been on TikTok actually, but yeah. So yeah, yeah, yeah. What would I do on TikTok? So
Clearly, on TikTok, you would learn those old dance moves again.
oh geez, when I was a kid, my parents put me in jazz dance class in hopes of making me more graceful. It did not work. Um, anyways, we're getting near the end, so I'm gonna take this time to thank my patrons. I'd like to thank my dad, as always, who's been like a $10 patron since the beginning. So thank you for supporting me financially and all other ways you've always supported me throughout my life. Now, big thank you to my newest $10 patron, Dominic, who I did see in the chat. I'm not sure if he's still here, but, you know, big shout out to Dominic. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. It's awesome, and you are awesome. So thank you. And of course, all of my other patrons, thank you so much. I do really appreciate it. Um, I think I put the link to my patron in the description of this video. I think. I can't remember. Well, I guess I could narrate my comics on TikTok. It's too much effort. Uh, I've got enough on my plate. Um, but yeah, if you are a $1 patron, you get to see my work in progress sketches, and your name is up on here. If you're, oh my goodness, excuse me, I burped. If you're a $5 patron, you get to see the comics a day early, and you get to see the videos of the live streams on Sundays. If you aren't a $5 or $10 patron, you get to see these videos on Wednesdays. So they do eventually become public. It's just if you want to see it sooner, if you missed it or something, $5 patron. And if you're a $10 patron, you get a drawing of yourself in my art style, as well as all the other things. Oh, geez. I understand getting carried away. Please, with Patreon, please do not donate to me if you can't afford it. Or if you get carried away with supporting too many people at once. Again, this is just only if you can afford it. But anyways, also still working on merchandise. Had I been able to work on it faster, I could have gotten it already for people to get it at Christmas, but nope. So something for next year probably. But yeah, thank you all for coming. I really appreciate it. You're all awesome. And for at the end of December, beginning of January, I'm going to be taking those 2 weekends off from streaming. Only streaming. Still going to be doing my comic though. But that's end of December, beginning of January. That's, month away. So, anyways, I will see you next weekend. So yeah, ciao.